Most men spend their entire life being controlled, and they never even realize it. But the moment you understand these 7 laws, everything changes. Listen to me once. There is a type of person the world doesn't know how to handle. They don't shout, they don't beg, they don't argue back. They just sit there, silent, still, and the whole room slowly forgets how to breathe. I used to think strength was the loudest voice, the fastest reaction, the sharpest comeback in every fight. I was wrong for years. And if you are watching this video, chances are you are paying for the same mistake every single day. The strongest person in any room is not the one who speaks the loudest. It is the one every other person in the room watches carefully before moving. The one everybody wants to be praised by, and nobody dares to provoke. Right now, whether you are standing, sitting, or lying down, drop your shoulders. Exhale slowly. Did you feel that? That feeling? That is 1/1,000,000th of what I am about to teach you over the next half hour. There is a principle Machiavelli laid down more than 500 years ago, a principle the people in power still use today, a principle most so-called grown men have never actually understood, and I am about to unpack it for you, layer by layer. Because here is the truth nobody is willing to say to your face. Your tension is everyone else's comfort zone. When you worry, when you react, when you throw your hands up to explain yourself, you are turning yourself into something predictable, something controllable, something cheap. But when you are calm, not fake calm, but calm down to the cells, that is the moment everyone who used to control you starts feeling cold at the back of their neck. Today I will walk you through 7 laws. 7 laws that, even if you apply only 3 of them, will make people start looking at you differently before the end of the month. Not because you did something different, because you stopped doing the old things. If you don't want to keep being the easiest person to jerk around in every conversation, hit subscribe right now. I will not bring this up again until the end of the video. Law number 1. Silence is the weapon of the sovereign. Machiavelli teaches you a lesson I learned too late. He warns that the man who lets his emotions show is the man who hands his enemy a map of his weak spots. Every flash of anger you display is an arrow pointing the way in. The other side just follows the arrows until they find the softest place in you. Have you noticed it? Every time you lose your composure in an argument, the other person suddenly has more information. They know what makes you flinch. They know which sentence makes you jump. They know exactly which button to press to make you leap. You just lost a fight you didn't even know had started. I once worked alongside a man who never raised his voice. In meetings, he spoke the least of anyone in the room. When attacked, he didn't fight back. He looked the attacker straight in the eye, silent, counting in his head. Then he answered. And every time he answered, the whole room stopped doing anything else to listen. The biggest contract that quarter, nobody else signed it. He did. While the rest were still explaining why they deserved to speak. Words are paper money. Silence is gold. The fool spends paper money every second. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to clarify. Every time you feel the urge to explain, ask yourself one question. What gives this person authority over me to make me submit a reason? Mostly nobody. Mostly you are paying rent for your own anxiety. There is a price to choosing silence. People will try to bait you. They will feel insulted. They will call you arrogant. They will call you cold. They will say you have a problem. Let them talk. Every sentence they spit out is one more feather falling off them, and you still stand there, silent, motionless, untouchable. Law number 2. The breath is the back door of the nervous system. In Discourses on Livy, Machiavelli studied the Roman legions for years, and he noticed one thing nobody around him noticed. They didn't win because they felt no fear. They won because they trained the body before they trained the will. While your mind is still panicking, your body can already be programmed to hold its ground. And the door to that programming sits in the breath. You are breathing wrong. Your whole life you have been breathing wrong. That is not an insult. That is biology. Your breath is short, shallow, stuck in the upper chest. Every time you get tense, it gets even shorter. You are sending alarm signals to your brain non-stop without knowing it. I am going to give you a tool. It is called 4-7-8. Inhale through the nose, count 4. Hold it in your lungs, count 7. Exhale through the mouth, count 8. 1 cycle. 2, 3. Do one with me right now. 1 cycle. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did you feel it? Something inside you just dropped. That is not psychology. That is your vagus nerve receiving the signal that there is no tiger here. Your cortisol just fell. Your heart rate just slowed. The rational part of your brain just lit up. Science has measured this. When you operate from that calm state, your decisions get up to 45% better. Memory sharper, reflexes faster. You are not meditating. You are upgrading yourself at the biological layer. The man who can't control his breath is the man working a day job for his own panic. He thinks he is living. He is only reacting. He is not driving. His anxiety is the one behind the wheel. I want you to do one thing. Every morning, before you touch your phone, before you open the door, before you think about your to-do list, do 5 cycles of 4-7-8, 2 minutes. That is it. I will not promise you a new life. I will promise you that you will not be the same man at the end of the month. If by now this video has given you more than half the self-help books you have ever read, leave one comment, one word. Silence. I will remember your name. I read every single comment, all of them. Law number 3. Your body is betraying you. Machiavelli didn't only write about politics. He wrote a whole book called The Art of War, separate from Sun Tzu, separate from anything you have heard before. In it, there is a principle he hammered like a nail. The one who takes the position first wins before the battle begins. In every room you walk into, an invisible battle is already in progress, not in words, in posture, in how you stand, in whether your shoulders are up or sunk, in where you put your hands, in where your eyes rest. You are broadcasting weakness without knowing it. And everybody in the room is reading the signal, even if they can't name it. They just notice that there is something in you that is easy to take. They can't put it into words. They can smell it. Your shoulders are the flag. A drooping flag means you surrendered before you opened your mouth. There was someone in my own family. For 40 years he kept his shoulders curled. Every time he walked into a party, he found the darkest corner. Every time someone greeted him, he nodded downward instead of lifting his chin. Nobody remembered his name. In family photos, people's eyes glided over him the way they glide over a piece of furniture. He was not a bad man. He was not a stupid man. He had just taught his body a single sentence for 40 years, sorry for existing, and the whole world agreed with that sentence. I don't want you to become him. Stand tall, shoulders open. Tilt your head down exactly 10 degrees. No more, no less. That 10 degrees activates a very old recognition pattern in the human brain. It tells the person across from you that you don't need to lift your face up. You are already above. Your hands are not hidden. The man who hides his hands is the man hiding something. Hands visible, palms occasionally exposed. But here is the advanced piece. When you are not gesturing, your hands stay completely still. Twitchy hands equal a man who is afraid. Still, hands equal a man holding a knife. 2 minutes in a power posture. Just 2 minutes. Testosterone rises 20%. cortisol drops 25%. You are not manifesting confidence, you are manufacturing it through chemistry. Look at the apex predators in nature: leopards, wolves, eagles. You never see them flailing. They never flail because they have nothing to prove. Their movement has a terrifying economy. Yours should too. You don't need to make yourself bigger. You need to make yourself stiller. Law number 4, the 3-second pause. There is another principle from Machiavelli that few people dare to live by. He wrote about delaying the answer, delaying the favor, delaying the decision. The man who replies instantly is the man who is not thinking. The man who replies instantly is the man afraid of being seen as slow. The man who replies instantly has already handed the rhythm of the conversation over to the other side. Whose rhythm is your life running on? The honest answer will make you uncomfortable. Next time someone finishes talking, whether it is a question, a comment, a provocation, wait. Count in your head. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Don't count out loud, count in your head. In those 3 seconds, 2 things happen. 1. Your brain has time to actually process. You stop reacting and start responding. 2. And this is the cruel part. The other person's brain starts to panic. They are not used to silence. They think they said something wrong. They start filling it themselves. They reveal more. They drop the price. The man afraid of silence is the man afraid of himself. In the world of high-stakes negotiation, there is a kind of operator I have studied for years. Every time the other side names a number, he doesn't react. He folds his hands, tilts his head 10 degrees the way I just taught you, and waits. 5 seconds. 8 out of 10 times, the other side lowers their own offer before he opens his mouth. He never had to haggle. He only had to know how not to speak. When you do speak, speak 30% slower than what feels natural. At first, it will feel awkward. You will think the listener is bored. Wrong. They are hanging on every word. Their brain has enough time to fully digest it. You are carving each word into their head. And you don't need to say much. You only need to say the right thing. 1 slow sentence, sharp, placed in the right spot, is worth more than 30 minutes of explanation. Have you noticed it? The loud man is usually the man at the back of the line. The man who speaks the least is usually the man at the front. That is not a coincidence. That is social physics. Law number 5, emotional aikido. Machiavelli shatters clean philosophy when he shows that. Sometimes the only way to win is to refuse to play the same game. When the other side expects you to react one way, do the opposite. That is the moment their script breaks. That is the moment they fall out of their own zone of control. Aikido is a Japanese martial art. The Aikido practitioner does not block, he redirects. The stronger the strike, the more of that energy he uses to take the striker down. Emotional Aikido works the same way. You don't absorb the other person's anger, you redirect it. Emotions are contagious. Scientists call it emotional contagion. Normally, the strongest emotion in the room wins. It spreads like fire. One person gets furious. 2 minutes later, the whole room is furious. One person panics. 5 minutes later, the whole room panics. But calm is different. Calm doesn't spread like fire. Calm spreads like ice. Slower, colder, and once it lands, it does not melt. Your calm, if it is deep enough, will cool down their heat by itself. Their anger is a question. Your calm is the answer they do not want to hear. When someone raises their voice at you, lower yours by half a tone. When someone speaks fast, you speak slower. When someone breaks eye contact out of shame, you hold it 1 second longer. When someone is flailing their hands, your hands stay still on your thighs. You are not being cold. You are refusing to be the loudspeaker for their emotion. You are refusing to be the mirror, amplifying their lack of control. You are telling them, with your body, that their storm has no room here. I remember someone whose entire household used to run on shouting. Every time there was conflict in that house, he lowered his voice by half. He never raised it. After 3 months, nobody in that house raised their voice anymore. The whole house tuned itself to his frequency, not because he demanded it, because he became the strongest frequency in the building. You can become the strongest frequency too. You don't need to be loud, you just need to be steady. Law number 6, become the anchor of the room. There is a line people misquote from Machiavelli all the time. They say he taught that it is better to be feared than loved. They got it wrong. In Discourses on Livy, when Machiavelli describes the authority of a leader nobody dares to test, the fear he is pointing at is not terror, it is psychological weight. It is the feeling that this man cannot be moved, this man cannot be bought, this man does not need you. That is the kind of fear people reserve for a mountain. You don't run up and hug a mountain, you don't argue with it, you don't convince it to move. You just walk around it and live the way it allows you to. A crowd does not follow the loudest man. A crowd follows the man who cannot be moved. This is a hard truth to swallow, because it means all the years you spent trying to be loved, understood, recognized, you were running the wrong direction. You don't need more affection, you need more weight. In a storm, everyone is looking for a point to hold on to. Be that point, not because you save them, but because you don't need to be saved. And here is the part most people get backwards about power itself. Machiavelli wrote about this in Discourses, and people skip it every time. The man who takes the throne does not seize power. He sits still until the power comes to find him. Power hates the man who chases it. Power loves the man who sits in his chair and waits. You have been chasing power your whole life. You have been chasing recognition, chasing love, chasing praise, chasing the feeling of being enough. Stop, sit down, wait. Everything you have been chasing will turn around and come find you. Not because the universe is mystical, because this is pure social physics. The man who does not need is the man who is approached. The man who does not beg is the man who gets invited. I once watched a colleague during the worst quarter that company ever had. The board called emergency meetings on repeat. Every meeting more tense than the last. He was the only one not in the emergency room. He came to the office, brewed his coffee, opened his laptop, did his work like nothing was happening. At first people hated him. They said he was cold, said he didn't care about the company, said he needed to be reminded of his responsibility. He didn't respond. He just kept working. 3 weeks in, something strange happened. People started walking past his desk, not to scold him, to ask, "What do you think? Are you worried? Do you think we will get through this?" 3 months later, he was the only one who didn't get cut. He didn't fight anyone. He didn't convince anyone. He just stood still long enough that the whole room had to gravitate back around him. You can be that man. But to do this, you first have to die once. Law number 7, the funeral of the reactive self. This is the final law. This is also the law you still need, even if you skip the first 6. Machiavelli teaches you a lesson I understood too late. In The Prince, he warns that the man who wants to become a new prince must kill the old prince inside himself, not the old prince on the throne, the old prince in the mirror. Inside you there is a version dying a little every day, a version that still reacts to every text message, a version that still replays a sentence said 3 years ago, a version that still needs the approval of someone who no longer exists in your life. A version that still asks the world for permission to be at peace. That version has to die. Today, in this video, in the next 4 minutes. Close your eyes if you are in a safe place. Picture the old version of yourself, the version that flinches every time the phone vibrates, the version that turns red every time someone criticizes him, The version that rehearses comebacks for arguments that never happened. The version that, every night, replays the day to see if there is anything new to be sad about. Look at him. Look at him clearly. Now I want you to do something strange. I want you to thank him. Thank him for keeping you alive until today. Thank him for being afraid of the things that were worth fearing. Thank him for reacting in the moments when you didn't know what else to do. And then, bury him. Every time you react, you are paying rent to the person who made you angry. They live in your head for free. They eat at your table. They sleep in the room you built. Worse than that, they have never paid a single dime for it. Evict them, today. You don't need anyone's permission to be calm. You just need to stop asking for it. When the reactive self is dead, no one can kill you anymore, because you are not there to die. They can't shame you. There is no one left to be ashamed. And the living room of your mind, the locks have been changed. The keys are gone. This is the only death no one cries for, because this is the only death where you are reborn, the very next second. There is a wolf inside you. For decades it has been pretending to be a dog. It learned to wag the tail when it didn't want to, learned to lower its head when it didn't have to, learned to bark loudly when it was most afraid, and stay silent in the exact moments it should have growled. Today you let that wolf out, not to bite anyone, to remind it that it was never a dog in the first place. Did you hear it? That sound, in the chest. That is not a heartbeat. That is something very old, waking up. Calm is not a skill you practice. Calm is the place you live, an address, a sacred ground, a private courtyard no loud man is allowed to walk into. You are the adult in a room full of emotional children. You don't need to scold the children. You don't need to lecture them. You just need to be the adult. Your presence alone is already the lesson. I am not telling you to cut off your emotions. I am telling you to stop letting other people's emotions become yours. I am telling you to stop renting out the interior of your soul to tenants who have never paid. I am telling you to come home. From this minute on, every time someone tries to make you lose your composure, you will remember one thing. They are asking permission to control you, and you have stopped granting it. If you want to go deeper down this road, if you feel there is something here you don't find anywhere else, subscribe. I don't make videos to entertain you. I make videos for the men who no longer have a choice but to get stronger. I will be waiting for you in the next one. Be so calm it makes the world flinch, not because you are trying, because anything less is no longer you.